Hey guys, Dr. Iselin coming at you from Rose City Barbell. This is our last installment in our open mobility series that we started a few weeks ago. 16.5 does not look fun at all. Dave Castro put together the ex-girlfriends of workouts. He put together the 2 movements that we hate and then took off a time cap. So you will be finishing this workout. I don't know if you watch it tonight, but none of us are Matt Frazier, so it's going to be a tough one. We really need to work on our mobility, work on our form on both the movements. Although it's not complicated, it's not exotic, it is a grueling workout. So 186 reps, 93 of each. It's going to be pretty tough, so let's get you ready for it and let's get you through it safely so you can work out the next day. The first thing we want to do is we want to work on our burpees. There's a lot of burpees, and if you're anything like most of the CrossFitters we see, you're going to be sagging through your low back. You're going to be just kind of throwing yourself on the ground, trying to muster up any energy and power you can to get back up in the air. But that combined with the thrusters is not going to happen. We can't do that and have any type of longevity. So Laura's going to go into a burpee position. We're going to change just a couple things that are going to give her power through a burpee, but it will also give her a little bit of longevity and more support into her low back. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a couple modifications. What most of us do when we go into the burpee is we keep our toes dorsiflexed towards our shins. What that does is it automatically creates a little bit more of an arch or a hyperlordosis in our low back. That multiplied over 93 combined with the thrusters is going to be really tough to complete this workout. So what I want Laura to do is we're just going to take her toes from this position and I'm just going to have her point her toes away from her. What this does is it puts us into triple extension. This essentially is triple extension in a prone position. Our feet are plantar flexed, our knees are extended. The last thing I want Laura to do is as she goes to push up out of the burpee position is I want her to squeeze her glutes. By squeezing her glutes, you'll see it automatically takes the arch out of the low back. She's gonna keep her feet on the ground, but she's just gonna squeeze here, and it's gonna take a little bit of that lordosis out, flatten the back a little bit more, but it also gives her a little bit of power when she comes out of that. So Laura, go for it. Go ahead and squeeze, pop up. Perfect. So what it does is it gives us a little bit of pop out of that burpee. It's going to be really tough to keep your back nice and flat if we're not squeezing those glutes. Make sure that you're engaging the glutes, tightening that core before you hop up. The next thing I want to do is I want to open up the anterior hip. I want to get the femur pushing anterior into that hip joint. The squat and the thruster, the burpee and the thruster, sorry, are both hip flexion dominant movements. So we're going to be using those psoas muscles a lot. They're going to be flexed and shortened, which is the action that they do, but we really want to be able to open up, especially for that extension on the burpee that CrossFit looks for, and especially on the extension overhead in the thruster. So what I'm going to have Laura do is take a band, hook it to the rig, and we're going to pull her femur into anterior translation. She's going to put her right leg through, and then she's going to step back. She's going to put the band all the way up to the bottom of her glute. This is going to be the most traction on that femur. With the opposite leg, she's going to put it 90 degrees. Perfect. So from here, what I want Laura to do is I want her to take a few reps of just squeezing her glute. She's going to feel it tighten in front on the quad, and then I want her to relax, and she's going to feel just the band gently pull her into anterior translation. I want her to do this about 4 or 5 times. Just really get a feel of how your hips should be moving and where we want them to go. The next thing I want Laura to do is take both of her hands, put them up overhead, and reach towards the ceiling, and just lean a little bit to her left. What this does is it opens up this whole anterior chain. The psoas goes from L1 across the front of your pelvic bowl and attaches on the inside of your leg. We want to stretch all of that. By having Laura reach up and over, it stretches the entire psoas all the way from its origin down to its insertion. The last thing I want Laura to do to create even a little bit more of hip extension is I'm going to have Laura try to straighten this leg out and straighten that foot out, and then I want her to actually tilt her pelvis forward and lean forward. As you can see, we're getting more of a stretch here, but we're also stretching a little bit more of that quad muscle. Be creative with this movement. Don't always go in the frontal sagittal plane. Make sure you're twisting, make sure that you're getting a little bit of tug into all of those deep dark corners that might be causing you a little bit of tension, and don't be afraid to explore those. That's where we're going to exploit our weaknesses if we don't go into those corners that are causing us pain. So what we want to do next is we want to work on the thruster a little bit more. We really want to open up that T-spine. I know we've talked about this before, we've hammered in the past. That T-spine needs to be opened up, especially on the thruster. If our T-spine is collapsed, if we're tight in the front, when we come down, we're not going to be able to keep that nice upright posture with those elbows up in that front rack position. To do that, we've gone over before how to open up the T-spine using a barbell in 16.3. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of weight. So I'm going to take my 20-pound med ball, I'm going to throw it on my chest, and I'm just going to reach back and really let it open up my T-spine. So this is more passive than active. If you were doing it without this, you'd actively be having to open up and stretch over the foam roller. This way, I want you to just relax, really let that T-spine come over, move down a couple segments, and really open it up. Don't be afraid to get into those shoulders. Push it over here, now I'm extending through my shoulders just like I would be on that thruster, but really make sure that you're feeling the pressure all the way through that thoracic spine, opening it up. The last thing we want to do is we want to get you in that front rack position. This is one position that everybody has problems with if we're not proficient in thrusters or in the front squat. We need to make sure our elbows are up here the entire time. If we start to fall, our back starts to cave, our upper back, it goes right to our lower back, our squat becomes inefficient, and then our thruster becomes more of a pushing forward instead of pushing out overhead. So what I want to do is I'm going to take a band, I'm going to come over to the rig, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook the band up to the bottom of the rig. So this is a super front rack. This is going to put a lot of pressure on those triceps, and it's really going to open up my lats. I'm going to take the band, face the rig, open up my palm, I'm going to flip around. So now I'm in that front rack position. From here, my palm is opened up towards the ceiling. So this is a really compromised position. This is really tough if you have tight lats. I want you to take that band, take your other arm and pull that elbow into adduction. So pull it towards midline, keeping that palm facing towards the ceiling. What I want you to do from that point is pull that chest down. So my rib cage isn't opened up, I'm pulling it down, extending purely through my lat. From here, I'm taking my other arm, pulling it right into adduction. Let this marinate for a little bit, take about 30 seconds per side. Do each side a couple times. It's not for time, it's for until you feel everything release, till you feel you're ready to work out. Make sure you take these steps, guys. This workout sucks. So take the time, do what you need to, but good luck on 16.5. If you enjoyed our videos, make sure you keep tuning in. We're gonna start Mobility Mondays coming up in April. We're also gonna start teaching mobility seminars here at Rose City Barbell, CrossFit Washington Square. So tune in and let us know if you have any questions.